Dude, it's ready to roll.
Actually, I don't drink coffee.
Oh, yeah? Why not? You just never got into it?
Just never got into it.
You do any type of caffeine, or you just stay strict water?
Sweet tea.
Sweet tea? That's caffeine.
Sweet tea there.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Who makes the sweet tea for you?
I do.
You do?
I do, yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Is it dark sweet tea or light sweet tea? You make sweet tea, so you know the difference. I know you do.
I don't. Whatever Lipton is.
Ah.
I don't know.
Are you a 2-bag per pitcher guy or a 1-bag? Do you do the big bag that's supposed to do 2 pitchers, but you really put
The family bag.
But you really put 2 bags in there?
No, we do the. Maybe I'm doing too much. We do 4 bags.
My man. All right.
Wow.
Strong.
Yeah, that's how my mom makes it. How do you measure your sugar?
1 cup.
Cup. As in measurement cup or a coffee mug?
A measurement cup.
Okay.
Measurement.
Coffee mug.
God.
Coffee mug.
Eric Raper made, I think he used probably at least 3 cups of sugar whenever he made it at the firehouse. I swear I was having a heart attack when I drank 1 cup of his. I was having chest pains, sweating. I mean, I was in a DKA like state. I mean, it was, oh God, it was so awful.
Yeah, it was a good friend of mine, a coworker of ours. But he was my captain for a long time. His mom and dad owned Rose Hill Restaurant. He grew up making sweet tea. Nice. So it's you brew the tea, then it's per pitcher. It's a coffee mug full of sugar, and then you don't put any water in it. Like you brew it in a coffee pot, but then you don't put any water in it. You fill it with ice. Because he says the key is you have to get it as cold as fast as possible, and that's what makes good sweet tea.
Oh, nice.
So you said he filled the coffee pot full of ice?
No. He brews it in a coffee maker.
Yes.
So it's a little thing.
We do that at
but
home.
a big pitcher, is what
Yeah.
he makes. So he takes enough tea bags or whatever to do a big pitcher, but
So
brews
it's
them
super
into
concentrated.
Yeah, super
Yeah.
concentrated. And then he pours the hot liquid in, or the tea concentrate in, sugar, rest all ice.
That's what we do at home. I mean, we'll do the coffee maker version of tea.
Right.
Yeah, it works out really good.
Sure.
Well, Chris Spivey, thank you for coming on to the Primary Complete podcast.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you guys having me. It's an honor.
For those watching at home who are highly confused as to why this ugly mug is sitting in this position and not the
Wait, are you talking
famous,
about me?
handsome, the handsome white teeth, pearly whites that usually come on this side, Steve Hunt. He's not sitting there. He's actually over there where I usually sit. But you guys know, I'm Jeremy King. I got Matt Hoffman here, who's still over there looking good. So good over there. We got Chris Spivey on today. Chris Spivey is a realtor, philanthropist, with a capital P. I mean, that's all I see is
Wait, you don't
all
spell
the
that with
good
F?
work with an F.
Wait a minute.
But glad to have you on. I think by the end of the episode, I think most first responders in this community don't need an introduction to who you are in this town. But we are starting to branch out. We are starting to get some surrounding areas throughout the state, even some out of state people. But we wanted to bring you on, highlight a lot of the good work that you guys are doing, and some of your partners are doing for first responders in the community. But
Yeah, it's an honor to be here. When you asked me to be on, I wasn't quite sure why you guys would want me on here. We'll try not to make this too boring with my story, but it's an honor to be here with you guys. This is an awesome place.
well, you're
awesome
being very,
studio.
very humble because, I mean, you're everywhere. I mean, as far as like the first responder community, I mean, you do so much. And even like when you're first starting to creep up, I mean, you were doing a lot for EMS and kind of depending on your history, and we'll get to that. But so where did you grow up? You said you grew up in Wilmington?
Yeah, I'm from here. Well, actually, I was born in Whiteville. Well, technically Lumberton. I never asked my mom why I was born in Lumberton because we lived in Whiteville, but my mom and I moved to Wilmington when I was just a toddler, so I don't have many memories of Whiteville. But yeah, I've always lived here. I went to UNCW. Go Hawks.
Go Hawks. Yeah, I'm a current UCW student.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always lived here. So it's home. It's hometown.
So pretty much a Wilmingtonian.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. What about your wife? Was she from here too?
She is from here. She's from the other side of the bridge, L.A.
Oh, the
Big
LA.
L.A. Yeah.
Yeah, Leland area.
Leland area. Yeah. Yeah. So she went to UNCW as well. So, yeah.
So maybe a lot of our listeners don't know because it's been a long time she's been, but you were a first responder at one point.
Back in the day.
Back in the day.
Back in the day.
So Chris was a paramedic with Denver Regional EMS. How did you get your start in EMS? Did you fall into it? Is it something you wanted to do? Did you know somebody who volunteered?
I'd love to say that I started out in EMS because I wanted to serve the community, but unfortunately, and maybe I'm a little embarrassed to say, that was not the reason for it. I spent 5 good years at UNCW. When I first started UNCW, my plan was med school.
I was about to say, what was your major?
It was
So pre-med?
Biology for med school.
That's what I'm in right now.
But again, I had a good time while I was at UNCW, and that took care of med school plans for me. So when I graduated, I thought, well, let me try PA school, physician assistant school. So I thought, well, let me take my EMT. Maybe that'll make my application look better. So that's how I
get them patient contact hours.
Kind of got started. Took my EMT course, which I think back then, gosh, this was probably
what year?
We're probably talking 1995, probably. Took my EMT course. Got that certification. Applied to PA school. Didn't get in.
Wow.
I thought, well, let me get my EMT intermediate, and that'll look good on my application. So again, I'm still not thinking about the community yet. It's still all about me at that point. That's pretty selfish. Took my EMT intermediate. That took me about 6 months. Applied to PA school. Still didn't get in. I thought, well, I've gone this far. Let me go to paramedic school, which I think back then was about a year and a half maybe total time between class time and ride time hours. So, applied to PA school again. Didn't get in. I figured I'm never getting in. So that's kind of how I ended up as a paramedic.
So you got your paramedic to go. Where did you end up working?
I started out as a volunteer with Ogden, New Hanover Rescue Squad when I was just an EMT.
Mm-hmm.
I was a volunteer with Ogden while I was going through the EMT intermediate course up in Burgal. And then I actually got hired on with New Hanover County. We were still with the county back then, New Hanover County EMS in 1997. I was still a EMT basic. I was hired on as part-time. So I started actually part-time with the Hanover County EMS.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I can remember my very first call. I came in to cover the second part of a shift for a guy that needed to leave early. And I went out to, it was Station 1 back then, Ogden Station. And I was riding with Big Mike, Mike Nave.
Oh, yeah.
Very first call. I'm talking the very first call I ever ran with the Hanover County EMS. It was during the middle of the night. We had gone to bed because it was still 24-hour shifts back then. We'd gone to bed, and we got a call in the middle of the night somewhere out in Castle Hayne. I don't even know. I can't even remember where we were. And I'll have to preface this story by saying I know that there was a person involved in this, so I'm not making light of that in any shape or form because I know this was a person and they had family and all that stuff. But it's just kind of crazy that this was my first EMS experience. We went out to a car that had driven off an overpass somewhere, and again, I think it was out in Castle Hayne.
Mm-hmm.
It was the car had landed on some railroad tracks, so we had to park, ways away, and walk down the railroad tracks. And it must have been no moon that night because it was just pitch black, dark, and we had some old rinky-dink flashlight. The battery is probably 3 years old in it because it was. I think we could have a candle that probably would have given us more light. So we're walking down these train tracks, and again, it's pitch black, and I'm just looking at the woods, just thinking, man, what is going to come out of here? A bear, a snake, a zombie? It was crazy. So we got down there, and the car had exploded on impact, and somehow somehow fire department, you guys were already there. You'd put out the fire, and I don't know how, because I don't remember how you guys got equipment down there. Maybe it was from over in the overpass. Maybe you sprayed it that way. I don't know. But the fire was out, and there was a body inside the car. That again had exploded, and it was just it was a mess.
Obviously not viable.
No.
This is your first call.
This is my very first call. I'm just in shock. I'm just staring at what's left of this vehicle, and again, unfortunately, this person that was in there was a single person in there. But it was it was down to the skeleton. The skeleton was black. It was burned. Not bad. So it was. So I'm looking at a skeleton there, which was pretty shocking for my first call. And so finally after being on scene for several minutes, Big Mike came up to me and said, "Okay, we got a body bag. Let's put the body in there." And I looked at him. I said, "I'm not touching that thing." Here I am, first call. I show up, my shirt's starched and white. My pants are starched. They got a crease down the middle. My shoes are shining because they're polished. I'm like, man, I didn't sign up to come here and do this. I'm not touching that. I said, isn't the coroner going to come pick this thing up? And he just kind of laughed. He said, "Rookie, we got to do this." So
a lot's changed since then.
He unzipped the bag, and again, I'm not making light of the situation whatsoever. But we literally had to pick up pieces to put them in the bag, and that is my first experience in EMS. And a few minutes later, the old Medic 1 showed up. It was a first responder truck out in Castleton. There wasn't even an ambulance out there then. It was just an old Blazer. And Tom
was that the one that Steve McCann eventually worked in?
Probably. It was an old two-door Blazer. Old Blazer. Tom Simpson showed up. Tom was an awesome guy. I know you knew Tom. Also,
one of my first FTOs.
Awesome. He was an awesome guy. One of the nicest guys that you will ever meet.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, absolutely. Unfortunately, he lost the battle with COVID. Yeah. But he was a great guy. One of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. He drove the Blazer down the railroad tracks to meet us there, and Medic 1, that Blazer, the back of it was full of equipment. You couldn't even see from the front seat out the back because it was just piled high to the roof there of equipment. So they put the tailgate down, and they put the body bag on the tailgate, and Big Mike said, "All right, Rookie, hop on the back of the tailgate," because Mike was going to ride up front with Tom. And so there I am sitting on the back of this Chevy Blazer, and we're heading down a railroad track. Tom and Mike, they can't see me because there's so much equipment there. And there's so much equipment there that the body bag is leaning against me. And I'm as far against the other side as I can be. My face is smashed up against the window. And this body bag is literally laying on top of me, and I'm just picturing at any moment this thing is going to unzip. A hand's going to come out. Something's going to get me. Something's going to get me, and these guys are never even going to see me get taken.
They're not going to be able to do anything to help. They're not going to know.
So, that was my first call. We got back to the station. Thankfully, we didn't have another call, which obviously was years ago, because that's not the case now.
Oh my God, no.
But yeah, I didn't sleep in the bunk room that night because I was, terrified of the images I just saw. And I left that day, and I thought about it. I was like, well, I guess if I can get through that, I can probably get through just about anything. So I came back, and was blessed and honored to work with Hanover for 7 years. Embarrassed to say I couldn't do it any longer, but I enjoyed it, my 7 years.
You can pull this up if you need to. So, as I notice you're kind of leaning forward a little bit. You can pull the stand up just a little bit.
Take it with you.
Yeah, there you go. Right there.
Nice.
Take it with you.
Yeah. So, during that time, you run that first call. Was CISD a thing then? Did you have it offered to you? Did you go attend it?
No.
That's kind of a biggie to kind of pull somebody's skeletal remains out of a burning car and like have to ride in the back of a truck on it.
I don't remember that at all. Now, I'm not saying that it wasn't offered them, but just from my memory, the way I remember how it worked back then was, you had a bad call, you just cleaned up your stretcher and cleaned up your rig, and you got back in service for the next call. Again, that's a long time ago, so I'm certainly not saying anything negative about it at all. But that's how I remember it. That it was just all right. Move on to the next call.
I think anybody who served in our capacity in that point in time was that. I mean, that's what you did. You did what you had to do. You put that in your back pocket or out the window, and you
swallow your emotions.
That's right. Swallow
on to the next
your emotions and go on for the next one.
I can remember I just gotten my paramedic, and my partner that I was riding with, she was in paramedic school with me, so she was a brand new medic as well. And we were riding together. Again, it's at Station 1. I don't know what it is about Station 1.
I'll talk about it later. Yeah.
We got dispatched to a call, self-inflicted gunshot wound with a shotgun. And, unfortunately, you can imagine how it was when we got there.
Yeah.
So that was a tough call, obviously. And then we went straight from there. We got dispatched just around the corner to a business of a lady that was having chest pain. So we walk in to this business, and this business has a nurse on site, and the lady was in the nurse's station. And we walk in, and there's a lady. She was probably, I don't know, I guess she was probably late 30s, maybe early 40s, but she was sitting up, looked as healthy as anybody I'd ever seen. I mean, no signs or symptoms of anything at all. And, we checked her vital signs out and asked her, all the questions. And, she said that she was having some pretty bad chest pain. But again, she wasn't displaying any symptoms whatsoever. So my partner and I stepped out of the room for a second, and we were like, man, she's complaining of this severe chest pain, but she's not really showing anything. And the cardiac monitor looked good, and because we put the 3 leads on her, and we talked about it for a second. We're like, well, we learned in class you treat the patient, not the monitor, not anything else. So, we loaded the lady up on the stretcher and got her in the back of the ambulance there, and we were starting an IV. I think I was starting an IV on her. My partner was sitting behind her head of the stretcher, and she was sitting up. And my partner had the cardiac monitor facing her, and she put the 12 leads on her. And I'm sitting there starting an IV, and I get the IV started, and we're still in the parking lot of this business. And the lady looks at me, and she says, "I don't feel good." And I said, just relax. We're going to take good care of you here. We're going to get you to the ER at New Hanover, and we're going to take good care of you. And she's like, "No, something is wrong." And I was like, I thought maybe she's just nervous. I said, "No, ma'am. We're going to take care of you." And all of a sudden, she went out. Her head went back on the stretcher, and she went out. So I kind of shook her a little bit, trying to see, try to wake her up, and all of a sudden, my partner said, "Are you jiggling the wires around?" And I was like, "No, I'm not touching the wires at all." And it's been so long ago, I don't remember the exact, rhythm she was in. But I checked her pulse. Didn't have a pulse. She wasn't breathing. I was like, "Oh crap!" My partner looked at me. I looked at her. I think we both thought the same thing for a second. Dang, we were just in school together. Neither one of us knows. Neither one of us knows what's going on. So we slapped the pads on her, defibrillator pads on her. We shock her. As soon as I shock her, she wakes up screaming. She reaches up, lunges, she grabs me by the shirt. She's like, "Help me. What is going on?"
Oh, my God.
And then she falls back out.
Oh, my God.
Her face turns blue. No pulse, not breathing.
Right after just waking up and went right back out
Went
again.
right
yeah.
back out again, and same rhythm that she was in. Shocked her again. Second later, she came back, instantly woke up. She was screaming, "What's going on?" Because she'd stopped breathing, so I'm sure she
Yeah.
was hypoxic there. So she was just confused, screaming, "What's going on?" I think she did that one more time, like all just screaming. All of a sudden, fell out again. No pulse, not breathing. Shocked her again. She came back right away. She stayed conscious, and so we just started booking it. I think we had called for a fire department driver.
Yeah.
By that point, at some point during all that craziness.
No sign of STEMI?
What's that?
No sign of a STEMI or anything
No,
like that?
no.
Wow.
So on the way to the hospital, she ended up stabilizing, and we were able to run a 12 lead on her. And the 12 lead showed that she was having a massive heart attack that you couldn't see on the regular 3
3
leads.
lead, yeah.
Again, I remember all the technicalities of it. It's been so long, but it was, by the time we got to the hospital, she was alert and oriented enough where I could explain to her what happened, what was going on, and I can't
Having a big one.
Yeah, and to this day, I can remember where we were. I can remember her face is fuzzy, but I can remember her grabbing me, screaming.
I can imagine.
I can remember what she said to me when we got to the ER. I'll get choked up if I say it. That was a tough day.
I imagine so. A self-inflicted shotgun to a massive heart attack with multiple arrests
Yeah.
in the same period. Man.
Yeah. She was a single mom. That's part of what she said to me when we got there.
Oh,
but
man.
so I can't say any more than that, or I'll be bawling here, embarrass myself. But my partner and I don't think we said a word to each other on the way back to the station. Luckily, we didn't get another call because we were spent. We got back to the station, and I went in to the station to write up the report of everything, because I had the report on that call, and my partner stayed out in the bay. She never came in, and after I finished the report, I finally walked out there, and I opened the door to the bay, and I didn't see her, and I kind of looked around, and I saw her. She was kind of in the back corner just bawling.
Wow.
Yeah, tough day at the office that day for sure.
All these wonderful things that they don't tell you in paramedic school.
No.
They don't tell you about that good stuff or those experiences. In fire school either. Street has a funny way of educating us.
Yeah, for sure. And I didn't know how to handle that. I don't remember talking to anybody about it. Again, they could have offered it. I don't know, or we probably didn't even ask for it. Just figure it out on your own is kind of how I remember it. But yeah, of course, not every day was like that, but that was an emotional day. From one extreme to the other. Thankfully that lady, hopefully she went home and went back to her 2 daughters that she had, and hopefully everything was fine from there. But
Yeah, because feedback post-care was an oddity to get.
yeah,
Now, thankfully, like any type of high degree call, especially heart attacks or strokes, the hospital is really good about communicating like the after action. So like even if like they got they went and got a cath, or if they're a stroke, we'll now get a whole summary of what happened. They do the scores for benchmarks now for from door to EMS contact, from EMS to whatever code. Like if we activate like a heart attack protocol, like code STEMI, code stroke. So they measure all that now, because it's all sent off to the national whatever reporting boards to show like whatever the minimum criteria is for like strokes, like during the balloon time or anything like that. So now we actually get reports of how the patient's done.
oh, that's cool.
So and there's a lot more follow up on, and even if we ask for it, like you remember Warren Brown.
Yeah.
Warren's does a lot of that research now, where he comes back and he shows us like, okay, yeah, so like a lot of those high-degree calls where we like always questioned, like, I wonder whatever happened to that patient. Now they do a pretty good job of keeping us informed because I think they realize, like, yeah, we want to know what happened. We have an invested, like, man, that sucked. We did a lot of work. And it's like, whatever happened to that person? I don't know. Yes, I think there's a couple times where I'd run into people like, I remember you, like in the store or something like that. Like, I know you, I know your face, and like come over and go over and talk to them. But so much has changed now as far as the communication. They keep us in the loop now of, what's happened after the fact. I think it helps. It definitely helps because you think back to that woman now, you really have no clue what her care turned out to be.
Yeah.
But I think it helps us with a little bit of closure, especially if it's something good, like good positive result. You guys did great. Your actions contributed to this, and she went home. So I think that's one good positive thing they've changed, and definitely being integrated into the hospital system when the hospital bought us worked out well.
Yeah, yeah, I was there for that transition. So, yeah.
So story time. You don't remember. I got my paramedic in July of 2003. I got hired on September. I worked part-time with EMS, with New Hampshire EMS. It was only for a month because about a month later, I got a full-time job on B shift. But during that month, I rode with you.
Oh,
I know you don't remember.
But I don't remember.
No. But I remember, and I'll tell you why. And you'll get it in the end. But it was at Station 4, so on Monkey Junction, at the old O&H building.
Yeah.
We were riding together, and I think it was our first. It had to been our first call. It was early in the morning, so I'm pretty sure it was our first call. Cardiac arrest.
Oh God.
Yeah, and it was an old gentleman. That's about the only thing I remember. It was an old gentleman. I kind of remember the room we were in. It's almost like we were in a living room. It's a big open room. So that's all I can kind of imagine. It's a big open room. But it was my first cardiac arrest as a functioning paramedic outside of school.
Wow.
I had plenty as a firefighter because I started out as a volunteer, and then during clinicals through EMT through medic school, I had run cardiac arrests, and then on the ambulance and the ED. This was the first time it was me and just somebody else, but it was with you, and like,
how do we do?
I mean, I think I think we didn't end up transporting that individual, but we did work it for a little bit. I remember the fire department was there somewhere in the junction. I kind of real vague on the details, but the reason why I remember this is because when I think back about you were like I think back and I imagine like Matthew McConaughey in Dazed and Confused, the big mustache. Like I remember you like I would imagine you sitting against a pillar, just coming in, just going, all right, all right, all right. Like you were so calm and collected. That's what stuck with me. Was how just calm, cool you were. Just coming in like, all right, well, let's work this arrest. I'm freaking out internally. I remember I dropped the tube.
Nice.
I think
Good
the fire
job.
department had beat us. They were bagging, and I ended up dropping the tube. You run the code. And I think Danielle Wiley showed up, and I think she was running. I think it was when we had 2 transport units that would come. I think she was probably coming from Carolina Beach. Like I just remember her because I knew her.
Yeah.
But like that always stuck with me about you because I think that might have been the only time I ever rode with you because it wasn't too much longer after that you left.
Right. Yeah.
So I just wanted to tell that story, but like that's the one thing that stuck with me is how calm and cool you were, and I wanted to match that. So like I was trying my best to keep myself, but inside I'm freaking out and I'm dropping a tube, and I remember making a comment to Danny. I was like, "Wow, that was my first cardiac arrest." Like as a working paramedic, and she's like, "Congratulations!" Like, I don't know.
Awesome.
I mean, we didn't we didn't get anything from it. Yeah, it's just, but yeah, the way that you just stayed calm and just, like I said, Matthew McConaughey, Dazed and Confused. I mean,
I like that.
Just coming in like high fiving people. That. I mean, I imagine the big mustache and just, I mean, that, and I still use that today. Like that was like the epitome is like that's where you need to be because it almost like dictated the tempo because you weren't freaking out. Just coming in like, all right, man, it's like a trash man. Like we say, like trashmen don't get fired or don't get worked up looking at trash when they come around the corner. Same thing with fire. Firemen shouldn't They come around the corner to see a house on fire. It's a house on fire. It's our job. Get it done. You come in. All right, we got a guy here, cardiac arrest. We're going to do A, B, and C. We're going to put the pads on. We're going to get some medication. We're going to do this thing for a little bit. I mean, that always stuck with me. And it just so happens that this week, so I went to Grand Rapids, Michigan to go visit some family. I flew back last night. And I took my mom and my sister to see some family. We ended up going to Lake Michigan 2 days ago. So Grand Rapids is about 30 minutes from the lake. Mm. So I just drove them to go see the lake. And as we're coming out the beach strand, we're at the beach strand, I see a crowd of people in the parking lot. And so we're walking back, and I notice that there's cars parked abnormally. And I see the back of a tan shirt, and I see somebody bobbing up and down. Wow. I'm just like, this looks familiar. I think this kind of looks.
I've seen this movie.
So I'm helping my mom up the sand because sand there on the lake is very soft. So I'm helping her up and I'm helping her going, and we keep walking, and I'm like, that looks like that guy's doing CPR.
Wow.
But I don't think that's right. There's no ambulance or anything.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden I get closer and I see feet sticking out. I'm like, I know what he's doing.
Wow.
So I walk up, and they're just doing, it's a park ranger, and then there's some bystander. They already got the 80 on the guy, and this guy's in full cardiac arrest. And they're doing secret, and I just walk up, and I'm just like, hey, guys, need any help? I was like, they just kind of stop, and they're just like looking at me. I was like, I'm a paramedic. Do you guys need any help? And they just don't say anything. They're just going, it's like, all right, let's just go ahead and do this. So that made me think it's funny that I can come calm, and like my mom and my sister are sitting there freaked out. I'm just jumping in, doing CPR, trying to get some information. The family didn't speak English, so luckily somebody spoke and translated, and we got some information down. Nobody had called 911 at that point.
Wow.
This guy had collapsed from the beach strand, and a couple of bystanders helped just drag him through the sand to the car. They didn't realize what was happening. Well, I think he'd already gotten in cardiac arrest by that point.
Yeah.
They ended up a bystander knew CPR. I don't remember what her qualifications were, but they checked him and was like, oh, he's not breathing. Got him out of the car, started CPR. They'd assumed somebody else had called 911.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, but anyways, it's just funny. Like, I've been thinking about the story since I talked to you. That's the one thing that's always stuck in my head about you. And kind of come full circle, or like this past week, like, I mean, we've had this lined up for you, for like 3 or 4 weeks now.
Yeah.
And I was going to tell you the story, but then this week I kind of had a similar experience where I was coming in like, hey guys, need help? Oh, what are you doing here? Doing some CPR? Oh, cool.
I'm basically a doctor.
Well, let me help you. Nah. So I thought it was pretty cool.
Well, a couple of things with that. I didn't start out that way.
Well, of course, none of us do.
First started EMS, but thankfully I had some experienced medics that, taught me, pulled me off to the side and said, look, if you stay calm, you're going to be able to think more clearly. And even if you're freaking out on the inside, give that calm outward presence to your patient, because that's going to help your patient. Actually, another call, I ran out in Castle Hayne. I was a brand new medic, and I had a part-time, I think it was maybe an EMT riding with me. And we went out to a gentleman that was having chest pain, wasn't feeling good, and we walked in, and he was pale, he was diaphoretic, and I put him on the monitor, and whatever it was back then, again, it's been so long ago, he displayed every sign and symptom of needing to be cardioverted. And I had never done that ever, and here I am with, nothing against him, but he was an EMT basic who couldn't help me at all other than just taking the blood pressure and the vital signs for me. It was all resting on my shoulders. And actually, Chad Ayers and Danielle Wiley, they were on I think they were on EMS 11. They heard me call for the fire department for a driver, and they called me over the radio, and they asked if I needed help. They called me over the radio to ask for help. I couldn't say yes. I couldn't say that on the radio. My ego.
Help me.
My ego got the best of me. If they'd called me on the phone, I'd be like, yeah, come on. Run traffic till you get here. But I went back. I said, negative. We're all good here. So we load the guy up. I'm going to cardiovert him on the way to the hospital. And we we load him up in the truck, and I get in first, and I'm kind of up at the by his head, and my partner's about to climb in the back, and he was like, "Do you want me to prepare for cardiac arrest?" And the patient was like, "What?"
Oh, no.
And I said, "No, sir." I said, "No, we're good, sir. You're fine. You're going to be fine." And I leaned around the back of the stretcher, and I nodded my head. Yes, prepare for cardiac arrest. So I get them all hooked up, and the IV started on him, and I explained to him that, "Sir, I'm going to have to deliver a shock to you while you're awake." And I explained the whole deal to him, and right before I get ready to shock him, he was like, "Now, how long did you boys go to school to learn how to do this thing?" And I was like, "Oh, don't worry, sir. We went to school for a long time.
School.
It was a full weekend. It was all day Saturday, and it was all day Sunday."
It's my first day. How am I doing?
He was like, "What?" I said, "I'm just kidding with you." So, I hit that button and gave him the juice, which I was nervous to hit that button because he was, awake at that point, and I was afraid I'd hit the button and he would no longer be awake, and it'd be my fault. But I hit it, and it didn't work. So I think your protocol then was you got to do it again.
Yes.
I think it was double it, maybe.
Yes.
I don't remember.
You start at 50 and go to 100. Something like that, yeah.
Something like that. So I explained to him, I said, "Sir, that shock I just gave you?" I said, "Well, I got to do it again, and now I got to double it." He's like, "Boys, do what you got to do." So I did it, and he converted that time. But I tried to be calm, but on the inside, I was freaking out. But it was because medics had pulled me to the side and said, "Look, just be calm. You're gonna think more clearly." And I still use that to this day, even with my business. I've had so many clients that after we finish at the closing table, or we've just sold their house, they we're talking, and they're like, "The best thing about you during this whole thing was that you were always calm." They said, "We were freaking out, we were stressed out. Sometimes they're the stress to tears, but all we had to do is just talk to you, and you're like, we're gonna be okay. That's fine. We're gonna get this figured out. We'll take care of it. Don't worry about it." That's why I try to encourage people to hire first responders, any type of first responders, any opportunity they can hire a first responder to do something, whatever, it's service. I always try to encourage that because, first responders are trained to handle stressful situations and how to handle that stress and deal with that stress and how to figure out a problem and come up with a solution, sometimes pretty quickly if something's not working right. So for years, I've tried to encourage people, always hire a first responder if you have the opportunity, no matter the business, even if they don't know anything about business. Like I didn't know anything about real estate when I started, but that first responder, they're going to be able to learn, and they're going to be able to handle the stress. They're going to be able to figure things out. So I always encourage people just look to hire first responders whenever you can.
So when did you leave EMS?
I left EMS in July of 2004. Luckily, before then, I had met my wife. She was working as a nurse in the emergency room. And again, I always had my uniform starched and looking good. I mean, allegedly back then, my bachelor days, the ladies liked the look of a uniform.
And looking like Matthew McConaughey, like in my head.
So luckily, I was blessed to meet my wife before I left EMS. She actually asked me out on a first date. She cornered me in a med room one day, and she said, "You know what? Are you ever going to ask me out? Because you are going way too slow for me." And I was like, "Whoa, slow down now. Hold on a minute. Let's not get moving too fast." But yeah, she asked me out, and here we are. I'm blessed to say married 18 years this year. So
congratulations.
Yeah, my beautiful wife. I get that out there on the World Wide Web.
That's right. Out there.
That's right.
Yeah.
Get some plus points in there.
Yeah, so I left EMS in 2004 and started my real estate business in July of 2004.
What made you want to go into real estate?
I get asked that a lot, man, and I really don't know.
Did you know somebody who did it to kind of talk you into it, or you just like, hey, this sounds fun?
My stepbrother was a realtor in Cary, Raleigh area. So I talked to him about it. But the only thing I can, the best explanation that I can give is that, that was God's plan for me.
Right.
I'm very open about my faith, and I have been with my business, and because that's a big part of who I am. So, that's the only way I can explain it, because I had no business experience. I had no real estate experience. My wife and I, we had just bought a home, and the realtor that we used, again, no offense to anybody, but man, I thought I could do a better job than that. So that's just kind of how I ended up in real estate. Had no clue what I was doing that first year. Luckily, because I'd, built relationships, I had a few people that took a chance on me in real estate. One was a paramedic that was buying a property, and another was an ER physician who was selling a property and buying a property, and they didn't have to use me because I had no clue what I didn't even know. But again, it's because of those relationships, they took a chance on me, and that's where it all started.
Nice.
Here I am, 17 years later. Yeah, I've been blessed way more than I deserve to sell right around 500 properties at this point. And a huge part of my business comes from the first responder community. It's just a huge part of my business, and I am so thankful for that. So thankful.
So when did the Cape Fear Homes for Heroes come about? You're the co-founder for that chapter, right?
Yeah. So, again, a big part of my business was first responders. So I wanted to figure out a way that I could give back to the first responder community more than just helping them to, with their real estate needs. So I thought, well, what if I could give some of my commission, the money that I make, what if I could give that back to them as a thank you? So I checked into that, and I was told that that's not allowed in North Carolina. So I couldn't do that. I couldn't give money directly to a client at closing. So I initially started out by making a donation in the first responders' name and their honor to whatever association or charity they wanted me to make a donation to. So it started out that way, and made a lot of donations. And then just kind of stumbled across the Homes for Heroes organization. They're national organization. They're based out of Minnesota. Long story short, by partnering with Homes for Heroes, at the closing, I take 0.7% of the purchase price, whether somebody's buying or selling. For a $250,000 property, that comes out to $1,750. I take that money, I send it up to Homes for Heroes headquarters in Minnesota, and then they turn around and they mail the check directly to the hero. So it comes from me, but it doesn't directly come from me. I can't hand it to you at the closing table, but I can mail it to Minnesota, and Minnesota can then put the check in your name from them.
Wow.
So it comes from me, but it's indirectly.
So is it legislation that bars realtors from doing that?
Yeah. I checked with the real estate commission or real estate attorney, and they said nope, can't do that. Prohibited. So, but thankfully the partnering with Homes for Heroes, that allows me to do that, and I partnered with Homes for Heroes about 2.5 years ago. And kind of branded my own version of it called Cape Fear Homes for Heroes, just to put a local flair to it. And then 2.5 years, I've been blessed at getting ready to reach this $75,000 mark that I've been blessed to give back to local heroes.
So that's $75,000 from your commission.
That's correct. I surprised my wife a few months ago when I hit the $60,000 mark, and I was telling her about it, and she already knew, but it was just kind of a reminder. She's like, you've given away $60,000 of your own commission. And I get asked a lot, hey, can I donate to Cape Fear Homes for Heroes? And I'm so appreciative of people that ask that, but I'm like, that's not really how it works. It comes out of my commission of what I would have made or what I made. So yeah, we're getting ready to hit this $75,000. I'm planning to have hopefully have the all clear. I think we have the all clear today without mask and everything. But
yeah,
I hope to have a huge party at a brewery when I hit the $100,000 mark.
$100,000 off your own. That's amazing, dude.
It's a blessing. It's. I always tell people this is not a sales gimmick. Mm-hmm. This is not a gimmicky thing for me. It is very personal to me. Because of my background, because of my relationships, and I consider it an honor. People say, why are you giving this much of your own money away? And it's an easy answer. I love it. I love it. Mm-hmm. That I can use whatever success that I may have. I can use that to give back to somebody else who's serving our community the way you guys do. That's a blessing, man. That is an honor. That is, and that is genuine. For the folks that know me, I hope that they know that's true. That's not made up. It's a blessing.
Well, I don't know. I haven't known any of your personal story. Never met you before in my life, but your name is a household name in the firehouse.
Mm-hmm. That's a blessing.
Everybody recognizes your boxes that you drop off. I know you through that. Like I said, I've never met you before in my life, but you're a household name in all of our firehouses, and you get to talking to anybody we have several people that like to buy and sell houses a whole lot, seems like more than others, and your name's always in there, always. So that's really cool. It's, your gratitude is not taken for granted on our end. Mm-hmm. It's recognized, and we appreciate it a lot.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it seems like we get, we'll get the occasional donation from somebody, and it's always appreciative, anything that's coming, but like sure. You are consistent, like for many years. Even when, you started doing a lot with EMS starting out. You started showing up to our con eds, delivering goodie boxes, coming to do a couple talks about some real estate stuff. You had that book you had for a little bit that you would come and give us kind of free lectures, but you have come around, over a decade. Have been doing stuff consistently, right?
Yeah.
It's
a blessing.
That's amazing. And I actually have dealt with your partner, Phil Cunningham.
Yeah.
So he does was a mortgage broker, right?
Yeah.
Mortgage lender.
Phil's a lender, yeah.
So awesome. He's done 2 of my mortgage refinances, and completely an amazing experience. I got turned on to him from a supervisor of ours, and what caught me and why I went with him was the way he described his experience with him. How he, I don't know, I'm sure maybe he did it through Cape Fear Homes for Heroes. His wife. We could talk about it off air, but he talked. So he spoke with Phil. Phil looked at all of his stuff and came back to him and pretty much said, "I'm not going to work with you right now because you need," and basically told him what he needed to do to get his credit right, or to get his situation to look right, to get the best possible rate, and then come back later. He deferred payment on his own. He deferred his commission just to make sure that he looked out for the first responder for that. And when I sat, that was something that was like, well, that's kind of most people would be like, let me go ahead and get paid, let me go ahead and take your money, we'll figure it out from there, or I'll give you what you need right now. But Phil, it was like 6+ months of him just like, this is what you need to do. Like, pretty much free advice. This is what you need to do. It's going to get your credit. And they followed it to a T. And when he came back to him, closed him out. Had an awesome mortgage rate. Credit was so much better. And so he told me that, and I think I emailed him. And it was like 2 hours later, I got an email back from him. And I was on the phone with him within 30 minutes. And going through my stuff, and he's just like, I got you, buddy. We're gonna come in. I made same thing, same tailored experience. He looked at my stuff on the phone. And he's like, "All right, we're gonna do this. You're ready to go." We come into the office. The man loves to talk. That man.
Phil is a talker.
I thought about having him on here today, but I figured we'd probably be down here for probably 6 hours if we have Phil. Phil, you're great. I love you. And even when we refinanced, like we did Zoom calls during COVID, and my wife and I think we sat on a Zoom call with him for an hour. But I mean, it was a great conversation. He was sitting at his home. He's like, I don't get to talk to anybody anymore. He's just
Bill's awesome. He's literally helped hundreds of my clients over the years. A lot of them first responders. He shares the same philosophy that I do, and I have this conversation with every client. Our first conversation, look, whatever we do is going to be in your best interest. It's not my interest. Yep. It's not whether I get paid or I don't get paid. Of course, this is a business. Of course, this is how I pay my bills and all that stuff. But that's not a factor for me. It is what is in your best interest. And Phil believes the same exact thing. And Phil ended up joining Homes for Heroes as a lender on the lender side of things. So he pitches in $500 at the closing for buyer clients as well. So yeah, Phil's an awesome guy.
Yeah, I've had multiple great experiences with him.
Yeah.
So I think you guys align very well on the philanthropy side.
Yeah, for sure.
Is there anything else you want to talk about on the K for Home for Heroes side before we move on?
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize that, at least to me, there's a lot more to the program than just the financial benefits that I'm blessed to be able to provide to the heroes that I work with. I mean, that's obviously a big part of it, but for me, also a big part of it is just trying to bring attention and recognition and gratitude to you guys and other local heroes, and just getting that out there to the public, so more the public can see what you guys do and the service that you provide our community. You're there. Somebody calls 911, you guys are there. So a big part of the program for me is just, I like to say, serving those who serve. That's my job, serving those who serve, because you guys serve our community. So, I can't get on a truck. I can't ride a truck anymore to serve the community that way, but I can try to make life better for those of you that do. And that is my mission. Other parts of the Keep Your Homes for Heroes program, I started a Hero of the Month award. Unfortunately, we got kind of put on pause with the pandemic last year, but created a Hero of the Month award, and we had 2 firefighters that received the award, 2 law enforcement officers, and 2 teachers, because teachers are also included in my hero category. It's first responders, active first responders and former first responders, veterans, current military, healthcare professionals, teachers, and also 911 dispatchers, because they're a big part of this as well. So the Hero of the Month award was just about bringing, again, recognition to those serving the community. So I called a bunch of businesses around town, went into a bunch of places. I got rejected by several. I won't mention their names, but
maybe you should.
No, I won't say their names, but I had several businesses that agreed to chip in gift cards. So with the Hero of the Month award, the hero would get a plaque from Victory Awards and Trophies. And then we had gift cards from Battle House, Firehouse Subs, Mission Barbecue, the Donut Inn, Waterman's Brewing, Completely Clean Power Washing with Travis Best, who worked with you guys, Poe's Tavern, Surf City Surf Shop, Phil Cunningham chipped in a gift card, and then JJI, the Jiu-Jitsu Institute, where I trained in Jiu-Jitsu before pandemic. I trained for about a year and a half before I stopped going with pandemic.
Is that the Junction?
Is that the Junction, next to Kiefer Seafood. He's moving to a new location, but it's still going to be
Who
at the
owns
Junction.
that? It's
Gil, and I always pronounce his name wrong, Alcacer, Gil Alcacer. So they all donated some form of a gift card. It ended up being like $250 some worth of gift card. So the hero would receive the plaque with their name on it, and all the gift cards. Again, just a way to say thank you and to bring attention to what you guys do for the community.
do you have plans to bring that back now that
I do.
Hopefully things are wrapping up with COVID.
I do.
Yeah.
I'd love to bring that back, and I will now that hopefully we're kind of coming out of the other side of this thing, and I'd also I would love to also do one for hero spouses, something significant for them because they're just as much a part of this as the hero themselves. So doing something for that spouse. I don't know what yet, but that's kind of something that's the wheels are turning in my mind of something I could do for that spouse that would, bring say thank you to them as well because they serve right along with the hero. So there's other aspects to the program other than just the financial benefits. It's like you said, taking stuff to the stations and I know that's small, but whatever I can do to say thanks. One of the stations, I won't say the station, but I took a big snack box up there one day, and it was a pretty big box, stuff I thought that would last about a week. It was crackers and chips and cookies and Gatorades and waters and candy and gum, and I dropped that off probably midday one day, and I knew somebody that was on the shift the following day, so I sent him a text and said, hey, just making sure you saw the box. He was like, oh, yeah, I saw the box.
The empty box.
It's
the
empty.
It's an empty box.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, man.
That sounds like a Station 17 thing.
That sounds like weird.
You guys, you know who you are. But that was funny. But, yeah, just stuff like that, man. It's, partnering with recently with Sweet D's Cuisine over on 17th Street for an idea called First Responder Fridays. Every Friday in May, all active first responders can show up either in uniform or with valid ID all day long. They get a free cup of coffee and a croissant, and it's not like a dinner croissant; it's like a donut. They're awesome. If you haven't tried Sweet D's Cuisine, go by that. Check out
where are they at?
They're on. It's right by 17th Street Deli.
Oh, I love 17. Yeah.
Right there, Wheels Pizza, and
it's
in that.
By SNL Deli.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe it's SNL Deli.
SNL, they're right there next to Wheels. Great.
Check out their website. So they've got a great story. It's a family that runs it, and they're awesome people, and the treats they have in there are awesome. But every Friday in May, first responders can just stop by. Again, I know it's small, but it's just another way just to say, hey, I appreciate y'all. Whatever I can do.
Just one of the small ways that you always keep coming back.
Well, I'm just blessed to do it. And
awesome.
Who knows? Maybe it'll turn into an every Friday thing. I go into some of these ideas that I have no idea what the cost is going to be. Like,
Sounds like mine.
Yeah.
We could have a bunch of people show up, or not many. But so who knows? We might. I haven't mentioned that Sweet D's yet, but maybe we'll turn it into an every Friday.
Well, I know you've been promoting that now for like a week or two. And I've noticed some people have been commenting that they've been going and taking advantage of it.
Yeah, they have. I hadn't talked to Sweet D's today to see how today went, but I talked to them last Friday, and they said, yeah, we definitely had people that came by, and I'm glad, took advantage of it. That's why I'm doing it.
I think I saw an ambulance there this morning, earlier today.
Nice.
I was going by there. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, how are you networking this? Like, how are you advertising these things? How do you sell yourself?
Really, the foundation of my business is relationships and word of mouth. I'm blessed that's really what it is. I don't do other than Facebook posts.
We do Facebook. That's where I see your stuff.
My personal page, my Kiefer Homes for Heroes page. I get a lot of exposure that way. But really, that's it, man. I'm blessed that it's relationships and word of mouth. I don't have to do a whole lot of advertising.
We're gonna have to up his game, Steve. We're gonna have to get him some urinal cakes.
I did several years ago.
He gets it.
I did get it. Several years ago, I did the Harris Teeter. Can I say Harris Teeter on here?
Sure.
Give
whatever you want.
We're not
It's the internet.
a plug.
It's the internet.
We're not sponsored by anybody.
I did the Harris Teeter grocery carts. My face
I remember
on
you
it.
seeing your face on.
So I did that. Yeah, I did it like, I don't know, a year. Probably on average, once or twice a week, somebody would come up to me, tell me, I always use your grocery cart.
Set my kid's butt on.
And I wish I would have used you when we just bought our house just a couple of weeks ago. I'm like,
Well, thanks.
what good is that do? So
Sounds like a not so great return on investment.
that did not work out that well. Not for me. Anybody else who wants to do it, full disclosure, you can do it.
Go for it.
Work out for you. And when I was a medic, I did get a parking ticket on the ambulance one time.
Oh, get out.
So we went down to headquarters at Station 2.
Mm-hmm.
We had to get some supplies or something. And the parking lot was, the station parking lot was full.
It's always full.
Yeah.
Still is.
I think there were a couple of units there getting supplies as well. So there was a parking space right in front of the station. So I just pulled right in front of the station in that parking space, but I was facing the wrong direction of traffic. But, parked there and, we went inside, got our supplies, came back out, and there's a stinking parking ticket on the windshield. I was like, you got to be kidding me. A parking ticket? But, hey, hats off to, the meter police. I mean, hey, they're doing
How did Chief Woodard take it?
I went back in and I showed one of the captains on the ship. He was there at headquarters, and I showed it to him. He's like, well, you got to pay it.
No, he didn't.
Yeah. Yeah. I do.
Was he messing with you or dead serious?
Serious.
Dead serious?
You're the driver. You got to pay it.
Prove
He's
it.
messing with you.
No.
No?
No. I had
Prove
to.
it.
It's by the county days, huh? Had no money.
Yeah, I'm not going to say any names.
No.
But I went to, like the next day I was off, I went to whatever office you go to pay the tickets, and I handed it to the lady, and, she was a nice lady. I was just trying to make small talk with her, and she's typing on her, keyboard and on her computer. And I said, hey, does it say on your computer what kind of car or vehicle that ticket's for? She was like, no, what kind of vehicle you got? I said, that was for an ambulance. And she stopped typing. She was like, are you kidding me? I said, no, ma'am, I'm not. That was a ticket that was put on an ambulance. She was like, where were you? Where were you? At the middle of the street? Or like, no, ma'am, I had pulled up in front of our headquarters. I was getting some supplies and came back out, and there was a ticket. She was like, I cannot believe they did that. Later on, probably in the break room, she's telling that story.
Of course she is.
Everybody at the office, that Fred, he put a ticket on there.
You'd probably been better off in the middle of the street.
Did she waive it for you?
No, I paid. I'm telling you, I had to pay the ticket. I don't remember what it was.
That's awful.
But hey,
We still
$19.99.
park like that in front of headquarters or in front of Station 2.
Maybe-
That wrong way left. I guess they learned their
maybe that meter police is no longer there. But hey, hats off. He or
know.
she was following the rules.
We're on it.
Must have been like a brand new one. Like, I got to do it.
I don't know what to do. I should
They're
do
illegal.
it. Yeah, I should do it.
You're breaking the law. Like, what is it? Wyatt Earp's brother Virgil in Tombstone. Hey, they're breaking the law.
Yeah.
Yeah. So hey, hats off to them. But yeah, parking ticket on the ambulance that I had to pay.
I've got a question. Jeremy was talking. He mentioned in his story earlier about when y'all rode together and you were working that cardiac arrest. He said when he first saw you and how calm and collective you were, that you had this big, shiny mustache like Matthew McConaughey in Dazed and Confused.
It's how you think back. You know how your memories are always not as accurate as you remembered.
Right.
But it's just his demeanor just always resonated with Matthew McConaughey and Dazed and Confused. I don't think you had a mustache back then.
I did not have them.
I remember
Don't you
he was
have
clean
something going on
mustaches.
with mustaches now, though?
Hey, good transition.
Wow, I just
Nice.
walked
That's
over
why you're a professional. That's a good transition. Yeah. Mustaches for Kids. It's an awesome group that I've been a part of now for several years. Every November, we've got a group of guys, and you guys, we've been trying to grow our group because the more guys we can get, the more money we're going to raise. So first part of November, we all get clean shaven. We've probably got it varies every year, anywhere from 75 to 100 guys. We'll meet the first either Tuesday or Wednesday in November. Everybody gets clean shaven that day. And then for the month of November, we'll grow mustaches only, no beards, no goatees. It's strict rules. It's corner to corner. We've got a ref that's we have meetings every Tuesday night at like different breweries or locations around town, or just meet and hang out on a Tuesday night and have some cold beverages and look at our mustaches. And so we've got a ref that he'll call you out if you've got anything past corner to corner. But we'll grow mustaches for the month of November while we try to raise money for 12 local children's charities. That's why it's called Mustaches for Kids.
Yeah.
We started back in 2003, and since 2003 we raised over $500,000 for local children's charities. So it sounds like a joke. It is. I mean, we have a good time because at the end of the month, we have the Stash Bash. Mm-hmm. It's a big mustache-themed costume party where you show up, you see all kinds of mustache-themed costumes. I mean, anybody famous you can think of them with a mustache, you'll see them there.
Probably lots of Burt Reynolds.
Tom Selleck.
Oh, man, Tom Selleck,
John Daly.
Thanks to this show, Matthew McConaughey will make an appearance next year.
Matthew McConaughey.
It's got to be Matthew McConaughey there.
I've gone as... an airline pilot.
I think I saw that picture on your Facebook. Yeah.
Hey, look, my wife sewed stripes on.
Yeah.
And I got a real pilot's hat, and I had mirror sunglasses, and I walked in. We had it at Banks Channel Pub and Grill. I had to get there early to set things up before the rest of the crew got there, and I stepped over the bar to get a cold beverage, and this lady kept staring at me, and she finally came over. She was like, "Are you allowed to be in uniform getting something at a bar?" Yes. I said, "Yes, ma'am, don't worry about it." I said, we just landed from Milwaukee about 30 minutes ago.
As long as it don't blow a .15, we're good.
We've got about another hour before we get that baby back up in the air, and I'm good.
Man.
She's like,
solid.
She was like, "What?" I said, "I'm just kidding."
Solid.
We got a 5-drink minimum. It's fine.
But it's a good time, and we raise a lot of money.
$500,000.
Since 2003. It was started by Ryan McKinnis, and then eventually a couple other guys joined him, Chad Harris and Adam Keene. The three of them ran it for a handful of years, and then I kind of stumbled in my way in there and found the group and volunteered to help them run it. And I think I've helped them run it for, 6-7 years now. And now we've actually grown. There are 10 of us that we call it the Growth Council, because there's a lot. It's a lot of work. So there's 10 of us that organize it and run it, and
So what's the catalyst of how this program Mustache for Kids raises money? How does that work? It's not. Is it by the length of the hair on the mustache?
No, you just grow. For me, a ridiculously looking mustache. It's horrible. My wife is so happy that every Thanksgiving photo I've got this ridiculous mustache. And we've got pins that you wear. It says "Ask me about my mustache," or "Hey, my eyes are up here," sort of thing. And just conversation starters. Just
regular individuals donate to it, or is it a business back thing where they you get businesses to back the program?
Yeah, thankfully we've been blessed that some businesses have gotten involved. Megacorp is a big sponsor of us. Live Oak Bank. But it's a big part of it is the guys just getting out there and growing a mustache and begging, pleading, asking for money, and then we pull all that together, and our record was $60,000. We did that 2 years ago. $60,000 in 1 month. We had 3 straight years of records. I think it was like 48,000 and 50-something thousand. Then we hit 60,000 in 2019. Last year, even with the pandemic, we had a much smaller group, and we were very limited on what we can do. But we still raised, I think it was between 20 and 30,000. So we're looking to get back full force. So we'd love to have you guys.
Yeah, that'll be coming up in November, right? That'll be coming up in November.
First week in November. Mustaches for Kids.
That sounds like something to be good for the union to get on board with.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
How many participants was that to raise $60,000?
That year we probably had close to 100 growers. Now some growers will, they'll spend more money on beer each week than the amount of donations that they raise. But we have some guys that will raise thousands of dollars.
That's fantastic. Do you have to be able to grow a mustache to participate?
We have awards for the worst mustache,
You should go ahead and get that.
trash stash.
for the best
Get that to me.
mustache. So I mean, you can get an award for
Dude,
having
I
the
can't
worst.
grow a mustache.
You get the Joe Dirt award.
No, I have the inability to grow hair right here, so my mustache is ridiculous. I've tried. I've worked with people with mustaches. I mean, for 15 years, and I can't do it.
You could be the winner. I mean, you could get an award for that.
You've got the best under the lip.
That's right.
Little,
Yeah, that's
whatever.
illegal. You'll get flagged for that.
Oh.
I had to shave it. Dude, it took 3 years to grow this.
You got, hey, it's
way.
a sacrifice. It's for the kids.
Ah,
I mean,
for the kids.
It's
Oh
for the
my
kids.
gosh. Ooh,
I
got
don't
to draw
like-
the line somewhere.
I don't like shaving my beard, but yeah, it's fun. It's a lot of fun, and we are able to donate a lot of money to help local kids. It all goes to local children's organizations, and it's, like I said, it's a lot of fun. It's a great group of people.
And that's so that $500,000 that stays in the county.
Yeah, that's local here.
That's fantastic,
Wow.
man.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, all for growing a goofy mustache and just begging people for a donation. $10, $20, whatever. And then, like I said, thankfully the corporations have gotten involved and made some sizable donations to us.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, it's fun.
That sounds like something we could definitely push to our people.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
we're all about
Get
some
behind that.
shenanigans.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I know we've had quite a few guys that have participated in, like, was it the No Shave November?
Yeah.
Which
It's-
is a separate thing, right?
It is separate. A lot of people think it's the same. It's separate. I think that's for men's health awareness,
Yeah.
maybe. So this is, again, mustaches for
I
kids.
think we can steer them towards the, hey, let's raise some money for the
St.
kids. this
Baldwick's
time.
used to be a big thing. I think
Oh,
it's
yeah,
kind
we-
of fizzled
I did-
out now.
Yeah, I did say. I know some people still participate in St. Baldwin. I know Leland did it last year.
Okay. So,
Yeah, or it might have been this past year. I know
Might
they
be.
just recently had a few guys that raised money for St. Baldrick's.
That's a commitment. That's shaving the head, right?
I did straight razor one time for it. Oh man,
Wow.
I'm down with that.
yeah, you're already there.
I'm down with that.
You're a full time participant.
No doubt.
So, not only do you raise money for first responders, not only have you raised money for children, but you also had another pretty big club that you started called Impact Club, correct? Or is that right? Am I saying that right? Impact
Yes,
Club?
sir. Impact Club Wilmington. Yes,
How
sir.
long did that run for?
I launched the idea here locally because I'm not smart enough to have thought of the idea of Impact Club myself.
Oh, yeah?
No, I'm not smart enough to think of it. It's a simple idea, but I'm not smart enough to think of it. So actually the guy that created Impact Club, he was my business coach at the time. He was based out of Washington State. And he presented the idea of Impact Club to members of his coaching group. It's about turning small donations into huge impact. And he offered to let a handful of members of his coaching group bring it to their local communities. So we were technically co-founders. I launched the idea August 2017. I forget the exact date. I think it was maybe August 28th, 2017. I remember the time. It was 4:30 p.m. because it was planned out that I would do a Facebook post announcing this idea, asking people to join in. And I set a goal, or we set a goal, the founder and myself set a goal of having our first event 28 days later. So not a whole lot of time to try to get a whole lot of people, number one, to figure out what this idea is, but then to get on board with the idea. By our first event, 28 days later, we had 142 people that had joined the group. So basically, the idea of the group was, there are a lot of people out there that want to feel like they're making a difference in the world, but most of us, we can't write a check to a local charity for $10,000, $15,000, $20,000. We'd love to, but you can't do it. You might be able to do $100, but you might feel like, well, I'm sure they'll be appreciative of that $100, but that $100 probably is not going to really change that charity's financial situations or what they can do for whoever they're helping. So the idea was, well, what if you could get together all those people that want to make a difference, that want to be a part of something bigger than themselves, that can do $100. And then together, we can make a real impact, hence the name Impact Club. So what we did was once a quarter, we met at Waterman's Brewing, and Waterman's was so awesome. If you guys can support them, please do, because Waterman's, they closed to the public for us. They shut down the restaurant, the brewery, the whole thing. We would have our events on a Monday night. Leading up to the event, our members would nominate their 3 favorite local charities. We'd put all the nominations into a box. I'd pull 3 out at random. Those are the 3 that we would invite to come to our event. And each charity would have 5 minutes and a microphone to tell their best story. And then I had ballots made up, and our members would vote for who their favorite charity was for the night. I count the ballots up right then and there. I write the money on the dollar amount on the big check, the winner's name on the big check. Come up, open the check, announce the winner. Place goes bananas. I mean, it just goes crazy. And the winner receives all the donations. So for that first event, each member donated $100. So the winner received $14,200
For your first event.
for the first event. That $14,200, that's the same $100 that I would have donated that I really felt wouldn't have done much of anything. But now that I partnered with 141 other people, now my same $100 turned into $14,200. So it's such a simple idea, but it was.
So basically, everybody would just show up with $100.
$100, yeah. At the first few meetings.
And how often did you guys do that?
It was once a quarter. The first few meetings, you either brought in $100 cash or you brought in a check. Mm-hmm. We quickly, and when I say we, I mean the founder in Washington State as well, we quickly realized this was maybe a bit of a safety hazard with the dollar amounts we were talking, because we were having our winners leave that night, because our events were at night, leave that night with a paper bag full of thousands of dollars.
$14,000 in a paper bag.
Totally safe.
Yeah, that they had to hang on to until the next morning when they could go deposit. So about 3 or 4 meetings in, we switched over to credit card only, which it was way simpler. We eventually grew to almost 200 members. So our last few winners, they were receiving donations of $19,000. And in 3 years, we donated just under $225,000.
Wow.
We had 13 events over 3 years. If I was by myself over that same time frame and I'd have donated my same $100, I would have donated $1,300 total in those 3 years. But my $1,300, because of the generosity of all the Impact Club members, $1,300 turned into almost $225,000 for 13, spread out over 13 local charities. It's all about local charities.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
It was all. I mean, we had our events they were only an hour, because I knew everybody's busy. Mm-hmm. Everybody's schedules are tight, so it was 1 hour only, and we stuck to our schedule. Our charities, some of the stories that they told, I mean, were just powerful. I mean, people moved to tears. Just incredible stories of what some of these charities are doing in our community for the people of our community. Some of these charities they're doing work I didn't even know things like that existed here in our area. I just I hear about stuff other countries or whatever, but man, some of this stuff was happening right here, and it's my hometown. I didn't even know. We got that problem here? I didn't know that. So some of these stories were just so powerful, and it was an emotional hour. It was only an hour, but it was filled with laughter, tears. Again, when I opened that big check and announced that winner, I mean, the place just goes nuts. But it was an incredible blessing. Our last 2 events, we ended up doing by Zoom. Because everything shut down. We had our last in-person event March 2020, so March of last year. It was right before everything shut down. We were actually starting to hear stories on the news over in China. Some people were like at the event, they're like, well, maybe we shouldn't shake hands, or so we were just on the fringes of it. So then, we had our last 2 events by Zoom. Still donated the same amount because again, it's 100. I think we're up to 194 members, and everybody's still donating $100. Unfortunately, long story short, I ended my coaching relationship with my business coach out in Washington State, and when I did that, he closed our club here, which he had every right to, because he owned the trademark on the Impact Club, and no hard feelings towards him whatsoever. Super thankful that he gave me the opportunity. But it was disappointing that we closed because I put a lot of heart and soul and sweat into that in my free time, which there's not much of, but it's something I just wanted to do for my hometown, and I still have people asking me, "Hey, when are you gonna start the next idea, the next club?" Because it wasn't the club that made the difference; it was the people of the club. So, I think we could just change the name and just pick back up and keep on rolling, which I'll probably do. I'll wait till things maybe get back to normal, and
it's getting there.
I know we're getting there.
On the way.
I've been told it's even though it was only 4 times a year, technically 4 hours a year. That's it for the members. It was a year-round thing for me. It's a lot of planning and behind the scenes and all that stuff. But I was happy to do it. I was blessed to do it. It was an honor to do it. But yeah, I'll probably get something rolling. I got some wheels spinning.
Are you the type of guy that kind of you get an idea, you gotta do everything yourself, or do you have trouble asking people for help?
I do. Yeah. I have a big problem with asking people for help. Not that I don't trust people to be able to do the job, or I just hate asking for help. I just hate it. I
feel the same way.
I just hate it.
Yeah. So not only did you raise that much money for people, but you also highlighted all the work that's going on in the community.
Yeah, that was a big part of it.
Do you mind sharing any of the major stuff that surprised you that was happening in this community?
I didn't realize that there was human trafficking here in our area.
I think the news is starting to kind of highlight that a little bit.
Yeah, I did not know that. Just all kinds of charities out there, and there was one charity that received the donations that night. But in my mind, and a lot of charities will tell you this, there were no losers, because the 2 that weren't chosen that night as a winner, they got to come back if they were nominated again, which we had that happen. Then also, they had 5 minutes to tell a large group of people about their organization, a large group of people who obviously care about the community and they want to help these charities. And I know a lot of our members outside of Impact Club Wilmington, they helped the charities that didn't win. They did something on their own. So, there were no losers in my opinion, because, I had some of the charities say, you know what, all I had to do was show up at Waterman's, have a cold beverage, speak for 5 minutes. I didn't have to fill out grant paperwork. I didn't have to put on a big gala and spend thousands of dollars on food and, beverages. And, all I had to do is just show up. Yeah. Sign me up every time.
That's awesome.
Now, we definitely had some haters, too, on the idea. But,
really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Why would you hate for that?
I had people that say, "Oh, that's too much money. I'm not committing to that." Oh, it's 4 times a year. I don't have the time for that. Had a charity that said, "I would never go and compete against other charities. I would never do that. I think that's a terrible idea." But there's always going to be detractors in anything you do in this world. And if you focus on those, then you'll never you'll never get things accomplished, and you might miss out on the opportunity to do some amazing things. And it was because of our members, because of them, their donations, their commitment, their belief in this crazy idea that had never been pitched here before. All the credit goes to them. 100% of the credit goes to them.
We can't get off of the real estate topic quite yet.
Yeah.
Port City Daily put out an article about, and I think the headline was, "Can first responders afford to live in Wilmington?" And I think this is something kind of right up your alley. I've read the article and read the research from the article, and it seemed to be more a little geared towards the pay side for us versus kind of where housing is going. And I thought it'd be interesting. We all know what the pay side looks like for us. Sure. You have people who gripe about the pay, and you have people who don't say anything about the pay. Some people think we're overpaid. People think we're massively underpaid. So
I'm one of the ones you are massively underpaid.
Well, I don't know that that's an agreement we'll ever reach. Sometimes I think I'm overpaid. Sometimes, but then sometimes I'm like, I don't make enough money to be doing this right now. So it's a juggle for me. I don't complain about my pay. Never have. I'm blessed to be able to do the work that I'm doing. But so the article talking about housing and what the housing market is doing right now. What's up with that?
That's a great
Here
question.
Locally, nationally, I don't have any clue. I'm not in that world.
In my 17 years in business now, it is the craziest market that I have ever seen. When I first started in business in 2004, that was right before the market took off the first time, 04, 05, 06, into 07, things started declining. And I started declining late 07, 2008. But this is even crazier than that was. And it's because our inventory, our number of homes for sale, number of properties for sale is at historic lows.
We're talking local, right? I should put in some context.
Yeah, well, national too.
Okay.
Now every market is different. I talked to an agent. I have contact with agents all over the country. I talked to an agent, for example, in New York City about 2 months ago, and their market, according to him, was the exact opposite because people are trying to get out of New York City, and they were having a hard time selling because a lot of people are just trying to get out of the city. Because that was kind of big part of the pandemic there. But for most of the country, it's like this as well. It's just inventories at historic lows. Going into 2020, we were already a little low on inventory, but when the pandemic hit, it just took it even further because a lot of people were, just not putting their homes on the market. Rightly so. Some were nervous about what's going to happen with the pandemic, what's going to happen with jobs, and all that stuff. So the normal amount of houses you typically would see come on the market in the spring, summertime, didn't happen. But at the same time, mortgage interest rates dropped to historic lows as well. And the big difference is, a lot of people ask me, well, what's the big difference of now and back in 04 and 05 and 06? And to me, it's the types of mortgages that people are getting into. So back in 04, 05, 06, people were getting into some crazy exotic loans that they were never probably going to be able to afford, once their interest rate changed and all that stuff.
I remember people trying to sell me those ARMs.
Yeah.
Those 3-year ARMs, 5-year ARMs, and luckily I didn't get into that, but it seemed crazy at the time.
Yeah. But now the historically low interest rates have been on 15 and 30-year fixed mortgages. So so you have a lot of people that have been trying to buy to take advantage of those low rates, but there's not many homes to choose from. So when a good property comes on the market, you have a swarm of buyers that are just trying to get that property. I mean, had recent listings of mine where we had 14 offers, 10 offers, 9 offers, and all price ranges. I mean, that's luxury listings, first-time home buyer listings, you name it. There's a shortage in all of those. So it's just starting to price people out of the market because now when a new listing comes on the market, the list price is the the starting point. In a normal market, sometimes listed at 200, it just came on the market. You might go in at 190 and maybe you settle at 195. Well, now if it's listed at 200, you better start at 200. And even if you start at 200, you're probably not going to be the winner to get it because there's going to be multiple offers on it. So prices have escalated because of that low supply and the high demand. And it is starting to price some people out of the market for sure. And we have a lot of out-of-state buyers that are coming here because a lot of people are realizing, you know what, if I can work at home from now, why am I, nothing against New York City. Why am I, just as an example, why am I in New York City or why am I in this city? Why don't I go near the coast, near the beach and work from my laptop, where I can see the water.
Travel out of ILM, like one of the easiest airports to get in and out of.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's
you
a big part of it.
Hit Charlotte, hit Raleigh, or Atlanta, hit a major hub, and go anywhere you want.
Yeah. So you have out-of-state buyers that are coming in, and they are making it hard on our local buyers because a lot of out-of-state buyers, they probably just sold their home from wherever they came from for a lot of money. They got a lot of cash to spend. So when they get in these bidding wars that are on every single listing, we're starting to see appraisal issues where properties aren't appraising for what the purchase price is. The purchase price will be, way up here, and the appraisal value will be way down here. Well, this out-of-state buyer says, you know what, Mr. or Miss Seller, I don't care what the appraisal says. I will pay you out of my pocket the cash difference between the appraisal value and the purchase price. I want this home. For us, our prices are getting high, but compared to a lot of other coastal communities across the country, our prices are pretty cheap.
Really?
So, you think about buyers coming in from California. Our prices look like
I guess so.
Nothing compared to what they're used to.
Their taxes are astronomical over there.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So, so to get back to the article, it's definitely tougher for local buyers. Not impossible, though. I've had a handful of first responder clients recently that have purchased inside New Hanover County. Now, it's getting harder because prices in Wilmington they're getting high. So I do have a lot of first responder clients, hero clients that are going outside of New Hanover County. We're going into, especially Leland, Hampstead, Rocky Point, Burgaw. I've even started venturing up a little further into Sneads Ferry and Holly Ridge. I've helped some heroes buy up in Sneads Ferry and Holly Ridge within the past 6 months or so. Even a little further south, I make exceptions for heroes. I typically don't go this far, but I've shown property in Whiteville to some heroes, just for something that they can afford. So it's definitely tougher, not impossible, but prices are getting tougher now. Eventually, and this is just my guess, the market's going to correct itself again. It's gonna change. Now, when that is, I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball on that. It's going to be a while because inventory level is going to have to come back up. Once inventory levels start to rise, and maybe when we come out of the pandemic, people feel a little safer putting their home on the market, we'll probably start to see that shift.
Yeah. Ever swinging pendulum.
Yeah.
Maybe the folks migrating from up north, when they stop in Wilmington after the pandemic and all that stuff's kind of cleared up around here, they'll continue their journey down south. And that'll open our market back up. The inventory will go back up as you speak.
That's funny you say that because we have, since I've been in business, we've had a lot of buyers from up north that have gone down to Florida, realized it was too far south for them. They didn't want to go all the way back up north, so they stop halfway, and here we are. Yeah.
So the Homes for Heroes, it says a national program.
It is.
Do you think just about most markets have an agent that are affiliated with that, or how common is that program?
Yeah, there are across the country. I think there somewhere between 2,000 and 3,000 Homes for Heroes agents. We actually have several here in the Wilmington market. Anybody can sign up for it, which, hey, I hope they do. I wish every agent would sign up for it. I think that the difference for me and for a couple of other agents that I know that do it, it's, for me, it's personal. It's not to get, leads or, whatever you want to call it. It's so I can give back. I'm blessed. There are 85 Homes for Heroes agents in North Carolina. And I'm blessed. I don't say this to, pat myself on the back by any means. I say it as a thank you, that I'm the ranked third in North Carolina out of the 85 agents for number of heroes helped, and 32 in the nation.
Wow, 32 in the nation. That's awesome.
Good for you.
Again, that's a thank you. That's not a pat.
Sure.
That's not a pat on
Good
my
for
Oh
back.
no, that's awesome. So I just want to say thank you for everything that you've ever done. I mean, in the first responder community in this whole area, it's like Mission Barbecue, Chris Spivey.
Oh, man,
I mean, I have to say,
appreciate
it's
that.
like the
I appreciate
those are the big two names that I know, and like, I'm not gonna say who's above the other because you guys are you're always there. I'd have to say the biggest ones for us, and I just want to say thank you.
Oh man, that's an honor. I've never heard anyone, put me up there with Mission Barbecue, because they certainly do a lot. There's good folks over there. Man, that's an honor. I appreciate it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
That
That's
means
why we
more
had
than
you
I can
on.
say.
Where can people find you?
My personal website is theimpactagent.com, because my core values are giving, serving, making an impact. Those are my core values. So my website is called theimpactagent.com. For my Cape Fear Homes for Heroes program, the Facebook page is Cape Fear Homes for Heroes. The website is capefearhero.com. I had to go singular because there was a Cape Fear Heroes.com already. It's like a minor league football team out of Fayetteville, which I had never heard of.
Nice.
So CapeFearHeroes.com was already taken. So if you go to Cape Fear Heroes, you're going to go to the football team. CapeFearHero.com talks about Cape Fear Homes for Heroes program. And then my personal Facebook page, I try to put some stuff on there as well. And then also with the Hero Award, CapeFearHeroNominate.com, CapeFearHeroNominate.com. I created the site so that anybody could nominate a hero for that award. It's not just me, picking names or choosing. It's anybody can nominate a hero, and they receive the award. So yeah, those are probably the main
Cool.
places.
We'll make sure we put those in the show notes for sure.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
In all of our social media postings when we put those up. Man, it's been a pleasure, Chris.
Yeah,
I've enjoyed it.
it's been fun.
Your gratitude is amazing, and your humility is refreshing.
I appreciate it. I appreciate
for
it.
sure.
More credit than I deserve. This has been fun.
Good.
Yeah,
Glad you've
it's
enjoyed
been
it.
good.
Yeah,
Thank you very
man.
much for coming on, Chris.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, man.